Your brain isn't spiraling at night because of who you are, it's spiraling because of when you taught it to start working. Most people who lie awake cataloging tomorrow's problems, rehashing old conversations, or solving issues that don't need solving at midnight have quietly accepted a story about themselves. They're overthinkers. They're anxious people. It's just how they're wired. But that framing misses something the timing makes obvious. The overthinking doesn't happen at 2 p.m. when you're busy. It doesn't ambush you mid-conversation or during lunch. It arrives almost precisely when you lie down in the dark and stop doing things. That specific, consistent timing points not to a personality trait, but to a learned behavior. And learned behaviors can be unlearned. Here's the first piece of the picture. Your brain has a network of regions called the default mode network. It activates when you're not focused on any external task. Think of it as the brain's background process, the thing that runs when you close the other windows. During the day, your attention keeps it suppressed. You're answering messages, making decisions, moving through space. But the moment you remove external stimulation, it comes online. At night, in a quiet dark room with nothing left to do, it kicks into high gear. For some people, that network has been trained through years of nighttime rumination to associate bedtime with problem solving. So it doesn't just activate. It goes straight to work. The bed itself becomes a trigger. Which leads to the second thing worth understanding, conditioned arousal. This is the same mechanism Ivan Pavlov documented with his dogs and their bells, except here, your brain has paired your mattress with mental alertness instead of rest. You spend enough nights thinking hard in bed, and your nervous system starts to expect it. Your heart rate subtly rises when you lie down. Your thoughts quicken. Not because anything is wrong, and not because you're an anxious person by nature, but because your brain is doing exactly what it was trained to do in that environment. The association runs deep enough that some people find it genuinely easier to fall asleep on a couch than in their own bed. The bed stopped being a sleep cue. It became a thinking cue. The third piece is about timing, and a mechanism sleep researchers call pre-sleep cognitive arousal. Studies have consistently shown that intrusive, uncontrollable thought at bedtime is one of the strongest predictors of sleep onset difficulty, stronger than caffeine intake, stronger than screen use in many measures. But what's striking is where those thoughts actually come from. They're usually not new worries. They're deferred ones. Concerns you pushed aside during the day because you were occupied, unresolved conversations, things you meant to address but didn't. The brain, patient and thorough, holds on to all of it until you finally stop. And the only time you fully stop is when you're lying in the dark. So the 11 p.m. spiral isn't irrational. From the brain's perspective, it's efficient. It found the only quiet window you gave it. The practical move, and you can try this tonight, is to create a different window. About 2 hours before you want to be asleep, set a timer for 10 minutes and write down everything running in the background. Not a journal, not a reflection. A simple list. Problems, worries, things you're afraid you'll forget, anything unfinished. The act of writing externalizes them. Your brain doesn't need to keep those items loaded if they exist somewhere outside your head. Research on what's called the cognitive offloading effect shows that people fall asleep significantly faster, in some studies, by as much as 9 minutes, after writing a forward-focused to-do list rather than reviewing the day that already happened. The direction matters. A list aimed at tomorrow seems to signal to the brain, this is handled, you can let go now. Over time, that 10-minute habit does something else. It gradually relocates your brain's problem-solving away from the bed and back into the evening. The association starts to shift. The bed becomes boring again, in the best possible way. Sleep isn't always about what you do in the hour before you close your eyes. Sometimes it's about what you stopped avoiding in the hours before that.